You can go as much into this as you want, but somebody says, I'd like to hear about how Doug accumulated his wealth. He has an interesting story about being cut off from inheritance twice, but they'd like to know more. What was your first fortune you made in mining stocks, et cetera? Just more curious about background stuff.
Well, actually, mining stocks and small speculative stocks in general have been my huckleberry. And generally, and here's a tip. Here's the secret, okay? There's I don't know, a couple thousand, 3,000, I don't know, around the world. Most of them are listed in Canada, also in Australia, some in the US, some in the UK. But I've just played almost always with the Canadian stocks. And here's the thing. If you want to make money with these things, you've got to spend time on the ground and get to know all the players. So you can size them up. Who are they? What kind of deals do they do? Number one. Number two, when the deals are done, you want to be in as close to the founders round as you can get. So you got the stock. You don't buy retail at 50 cents. You don't even buy in the first round at a dime. You buy at a penny or a tenth of a penny. Another tip, got to know the people. You got to bring something to the party. Why do they want to talk to you? And the third thing is when you're buying stocks that are already public, these things are black holes for money. They're always financing. They almost always need more money because they're exploring. They're not mining, which is when their problems really start. So you've got to do private placements. And private placements are really the only way to invest in these stocks or speculate in them, I should say, because number one, when you do a private placement, it's almost always at a discount to the current market. Number two, there's almost always, or there should be, a warrant so that after you sell your underlying stock, if you choose to, you may or may not want to, you still have a lottery ticket for the upside for anywhere from, let's say, 2 years to maybe as many as 5 years. So those things that I've just mentioned are how I got lucky in the markets.
And so, and a couple of the keys that just my observing of this from you is that, you moved, a lot of these were on the Vancouver Exchange, and you moved to Vancouver for a period of time.
Exactly.
You became friends with a lot of the people that were in the business. You probably learned who the scoundrels were, and you learned who, the good guys were. And
yeah, exactly. I used to, I lived in West Vancouver, had a great place on the water out there. It would take me 20 minutes to drive into Vancouver across the Lions Gate. And I'd go down most days and I'd visit one or more promoters. And wonderful things would happen. I mean, this is what happens when you finally get wired into a coterie, a business. Like one of my favorite stories, this was funny. I was sitting in Peter Brown's office. Peter Brown he doesn't anymore, but he used to run Canaccord, which was one of the very, very big and important stock firms up there. So we're talking, and in walks Murray Pezza, a name that probably nobody's going to listen to, but 20, 30 years ago, Murray was the big swinging Nick when it came to promoting stocks. And so Murray walks in, and he starts talking to Peter, and and I'm mostly listening to these guys because they had great stories. So I was just glad to be sitting there with Peter. And Murray starts to promote Peter on some deal. Murray had dozens of deals. And so Peter listens to the story. I listen to the story. And Peter says, yeah, okay, I'll take $100,000 worth of this. And I looked over at Murray because it was an inside deal. It was, one of those deals. And I said, Murray, what am I, chopped liver? And he says, I'm sorry. Well, send me a check for $50,000. And I did. And what do you know? The stock came out and I, like quadrupled my money in a matter of months. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff that can happen. Now, is that a hard work way to make money? I don't know.
Well, but and I think people want they want the result, but it's very easy to not understand the, I wouldn't say risk necessarily, but the uncertainty by which you went into, you didn't know that you were going to get, in
I
my
didn't
stock
know.
deals. But you knew that there were some interesting things happening there. There are interesting people there.
Exactly. And I made sure that I knew all the players and who they were. And I learned the basics of mining and all this type of thing. Otherwise, why do they want you sitting in a room with them? They don't. Okay.
Right.
Look, I remember, was this my first stockbroker or my second? I had very little money, but I had an account. I think he was with E.F. Hutton. And I was just a kid out of college. I knew nothing, frankly. And I actually asked the stockbroker, I says, look, I'd like one of those hot stocks. I know stocks are going up right now. This was during the Super Bowl market in '68 or something like that. And it was such a stupid question to ask. I'd like a hot stock. Well, everybody'd like a hot stock.
Yeah, of course.
And I caught myself, wait a minute, how much of an idiot am I asking a stockbroker for a hot stock? But look, you got to start someplace, okay?
Yep. Well, I think that the speculative arena now, you see a lot of the speculative opportunity that exists within cryptos, but, people like cryptos and are interested in cryptos, but I wonder if people are actually doing the work, one, to understand the technology behind these different things, to come up with to understand how they work and why they might work. And are you going to where are the development? And I know these guys are probably working remotely all over the world, but there are developers who are making this stuff. There are people who have the inside track to it, and I think that, I guess there is a parallel, is all I'm saying, with certainly in the crypto space today with what you experienced in the mining space at that time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tout sheets. Now the most popular tout sheets are not in mining stocks. Nobody cares about mining stocks right now, which is very interesting and very good. They care about cryptos. And I was reading a very popular tout sheet just the other night with all these different tokens and coins that this person's recommending, and none of it made any sense at all. No fundamentals. It was a racetrack tout sheet. In fact, not even the quality of a racetrack tout sheet. Absolutely embarrassing. And people are paying thousands of dollars for this less than worthless advice. No, this is silly season.
Yeah, you got to become an expert on this stuff yourself. You have to learn as much about it as you can and be around the people who really know about it. And they aren't the people who make money. They aren't the promoters, of it. It's going to be, it probably is the developers or the people who've been around crypto for a really long time, and they've seen things, all the projects that have failed and some of the ones that have succeeded, and they know the teams that are behind the successful ones and, and the other projects they've done. So in any case,